we've had
Mhm.
challenges from the very beginning, uh, be it in terms of the labor, in terms of the work culture that you have here, because we were the guys who have worked in MNCs, and then all of a sudden, like, just coming here to a second tier city, and being able to kind of deal with the people here, because the mentality is different, the way people work, that's a hell lot different from how people work in, let's say, Delhi, Bombay, Gurgaon, so on and so forth. So I think
Mhm.
that was like one of the major challenges that we had to face.
Hi, hello, namaste to all my listeners. I'm your host Sarthak Varshney, and I welcome you all to the Balls of Steel show, where you get an insight into the business mindset of the entrepreneurs. Dhandho Ni Soch.
Our today's guest is Devika and Mallika. Hi, Devika and Mallika.
Hey,
Hi
what's
Sarthak,
up?
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All well, yeah, all well.
All good.
I guess it's a new day for my podcast, a new bright morning and everything. Because for the first time, I have a duo sister on my podcast, giving who are gonna talk about their journey together.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, I hope we turn out to be lucky for you. We
Yeah.
really hope so.
I hope so too. I really hope so too. That's great. Yeah. So guys, moving ahead, why don't you tell me what is the business that you both are into, because of which we are gonna say that you guys have got the balls of steel.
We first of all, having balls is not something is something that is really apt for us. But yeah,
Right.
having said that, we started off with the business idea when Devika was completing her school, and I was, I think, completing my undergrad, and that is when
Mm-hmm.
she kind of came up with this idea. Hey, I'll, yeah, let's just start with a brand of our own, and then she was like that I will probably take up a line of that sort, and then that is how she went into fashion designing. She did her bachelor's in fashion designing from Paul, and I went to NIFT Bangalore, and that is how the entire piece of making this work and running a brand of our own kind of just saw the light of the day. Plus, there was one
Okay.
more thing. I mean, this is something that Devika has been emphasizing on from the very beginning. She has been very
Right.
keen on the fact that she wants to generate employment for people here, for people here in
Yeah, I
Agra.
think one of the major reason to start a brand in Agra was to generate employment in small town and also revive Indian textile in by blending them into Western silhouettes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very noble motive, yeah. So before I really dive into the journey, Devika, I wanna ask you, like, where did you get this motivation from that, you wanna start something for the people? And the second on that, you also knew that you want to do something in the fashion line. So where this does this actually come from?
Okay, so after I completed my high school, honestly, I
Yeah,
wasn't clear at all what am I supposed to be doing. And
right.
I was aware that I'm very good at fashion and I am very good with styling and everything, but I did not even know A of arts. So
Okay.
even when I started practicing art, I had shown a
Mhm.
drawing to my mom, and she wasn't even able to understand what did I draw.
Okay.
I had drawn a heel, and she was able to understand it as a horse. Imagine, I was that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I started practicing art, I was like, I cannot do this. I think I should be going for the management. That would be a better option. And my sister was very good at art, so she decided to go for fashion designing. But somehow
Okay.
we ended up
You kind
picking
of
up
switch places.
alternative courses. And now I am into designing, and she is taking care of marketing and management. Then
Wow.
when I joined Pearl Academy and I went for internship to House of Masawa, that is where I got a lot of chance to explore about designing and everything. And one of the major thing that I got to experience was that I was given a project to design for a celebrity, that is Sonam Kapoor.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had designed her Haldi outfit, and then is when I realized, like, why am I not supposed to actually launch my own brand? If they feel that I'm so good that as an intern they can give me work for celebrities, so why am I not supposed to launch my own brand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Okay. So,
entire story of, turning an intern to an entrepreneur kind of came into the picture. Then, the entire family was so supportive. And
right, right, right. So,
And
so
then
before I
knowing that,
really,
and also knowing
ha
that I have moved from Agra to Delhi, so I
ha
know
ha.
the struggles that I had to face, like picking up an internship. I cannot come to my hometown and do an internship here, or do any kind of
Hmm.
sourcing, or be it any kind of expo. I cannot have any kind of exposure in Agra when it comes to fashion. So why not provide
Right.
people the fashion industry in their own town? Instead of everyone running to a big town, why not provide them everything in their own town?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Out of curiosity, Devika, the the Sonam Kapoor look the lehenga that you're talking about is it the same lehenga and the look that went viral of her marriage? Do you know the turnaround look of Sonam
no,
Kapoor?
no, 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 no.
So no, no, no.
That's
It
not
was the
him.
haldi
Okay.
outfit that she
Okay.
had worn for that she had worn as airport look, which had also gone viral.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. That's really nice. Yeah.
yeah,
Apparently, I came across only one of them, so I remember that. And that was also that look also went viral for the makeup
yeah, yeah.
kind
It
of.
did. It did.
So that is the reason I remember that. Okay, so guys, we already have a slice of your journey, right? But
Mhm.
this is just a slice. I want the full pizza out there and the buffet if there's any, right? So why don't you guys start from the very beginning of your journey and tell me everything in detail to the current point at which you are.
Okay. Devika, do you want to go or do you want me to start?
No, I think you can start. You have a much more roller coaster ride. You've had a much more roller coaster ride to reach here. So you can.
Uh, okay, Sarthak. So I think having said and done, I'll tell you how the entire journeys and everything, kind of came into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was last year when, she kind of completed her course and, she was back from Bombay. She was like this, little local celebrity who kind of, was a celebrity designer for Sonam Kapoor, and everyone was like hoo-haing about it. That, hey, Sonam Kapoor wore her sari and all of that kind of just went into picture. Then later on, other celebrities also kind of wore the same design. So that was her part of the story. Whereas me,
Right.
I was in Bombay. I was working for an IT company, and prior to that,
Okay.
I was working for a fashion brand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then later in time, we kind of just came here. Both of us just kind of decided that we should come here. I mean, to be very honest, I was one of those few people who kind of had this mindset कि नहीं अब तो Bombay चले गए, Delhi चले गए. It doesn't make sense to kind of go back to Agra. And like I'm being brutally honest about it, but I think it was
Right.
her, it was family. And
Right.
moreover, I think it was even Hardik who kind of was made me understand that how important it is to kind of stay together with your family, to kind of ensure that how one can run a successful business, it's when you stay together. So the whole concept of being together and growing together kind of came into the picture. And it was last year in May or June, I think I was back in town. And she kind of picked up she kind of like started hiring people. We've had
Mm-hmm.
challenges from the very beginning, uh, be it in terms of the labor, in terms of the work culture that you have here, because we were the guys who have worked in MNCs, and then all of a sudden, like, just coming here to, a second tier city, and being able to kind of, deal with the people here, because the mentality is different, the way people work, that's a hell lot different from how people work in, let's say, Delhi, Bombay, Gurgaon, so on and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like one of the major challenges that we had to face. Uh, you know, let me just kind of like give you an example. Uh,
Sure.
when we kind of hired people, our initial lot of tailors, because obviously
Right.
an apparel brand, we had a small little studio here. Our initial lot
Right.
of tailors, man, it's been crazy. So these guys don't care about the fact कि नौकरी नहीं है तो चल जाएगा. They
Ha.
they really kind of just stand up against you like a wall, and they'll just tell you कि नहीं हमें नहीं करना हम जा रहे हैं. And having that sort of skilled labor, having that sort of kind of trained people, and then kind of just making sure that everything needs to be executed on time, and has to happen on time, and has to kind of be in place. All of that was such a major challenge. I think majority of the trouble that we've had is majorly because of the workforce, the kind of people
Okay.
who've kind of
Right.
been here. It's probably because of the psyche, or I don't know. It's probably because of there is no scarcity in terms of jobs, or I really don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, God has been kind of like been there for us, and
Okay.
lucky enough to have that sort of backing from dad, in terms of
Yeah.
you know always
Right.
being the whole and sole reason, our mentor, our guide, our everything, in terms of making sure how to manage your finances, how to run the business, how to ensure कि अगर ये नहीं हो रहा तो उसका alternative क्या होगा. And yeah, I think it's been a hell lot of a journey, because since May to August 2020, I think we have seen so much in the span of 1 year. In between which, I think Hardik and I got married also. So
Right.
everything was just crazy. We were making the brand happen. We did our pilot project. We were making all the garments. We were trying to sell it off on offline platforms. We obviously don't have a retail store right now, but we did a couple of exhibitions, and a lot of traffic that we used to get was through Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, kind of like managing that, ensuring that the parallel business, which is basically what my dad does, making
Right.
his business also happen, and kind of ensuring that we are able to function that smoothly. It's been a hell lot of mess, to be very honest, because every business
Okay.
that comes here is different from one another. So if I were to kind of explain it to you, uh, dad started off as a manufacturer for footwear. Then he went into supplying of heavy duty equipments. Then he started his NGO. Now he runs a security agency. And oh my god, it's absolute madness. And now we are running a fashion brand. And
Okay.
simultaneously, Hardik is running his digital marketing agency. So it's been
Right.
a mad mess. I am not kidding. We have just been tackling and dodging with these people, with the businesses, and just ensuring that we kind of smoothly sail through. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's how it's been till date. And yeah, I think it's been
Like I told you, it has been a roller coaster to reach here.
yeah, it's been madness. It's absolutely been madness, because we don't get a lot of, like, right set of people, first of all, to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the biggest challenge. So at the end of the day, क्या होता है? All of us are working, and then all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
you let's just say you divert, or you give a particular job to someone.
Right.
पूरा दिन निकल गया. End of the day, they'll come back to you, and then they'll tell you, ये तो नहीं हुआ. And then you don't have an option. You just have to sit and do it on your own. But I think that is how, the life of any entrepreneur kind of starts. Till the time you don't know your job, I don't think you'll be able to guide or tell anyone else. So I think it's been a great learning experience so far, so good. And we just hope that, House of Tomar finally sees the light of the day, because we kind of took our website live yesterday. So that's
Yeah.
that's that's the first step towards it. And
Wow.
in yeah, so in between all of this, I think it was in March, or maybe let's say February or March 2020, when we had to go live with our collection on Agio. So
Okay.
we were in talks with Agio. Those guys really liked our collection. But
Wow.
COVID happened, life happened, and we didn't really have an option back then. So we kind of just had to put everything on hold. And we thought that, I mean, I know the pandemic is going on right now, but it makes more sense to kind of at least launch your own website. Whenever the situation is better, we will again, probably resume our talks with Agio and kind of take everything to those guys as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Agio, your
Agio.
website, the roller coaster ride, so many things. Okay. Before I actually start asking questions and we start dive deeper into this, Devika, what do you have to add to this?
I think she has pretty much told you a lot. The only thing I would like to add, other than facing all these problems, I honestly don't believe in patriarchy, but I feel like I have seen patriarchy being here.
Mm, okay.
And more than me, my sister has faced it. Like, as you know, that we have joined our father's business and also we are running our own brand. So people are not able
Hmm.
to digest it that a female is running their own business, which is sad.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is also
Okay.
one of the part of struggle that we have had.
That's that's something we can actually talk about at length, because I also have a lot of views on patriarchy and what not in those terms, to be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, 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 yes. Okay, so there's quite a lot of stuff that we can actually dive into and talk about from both of you, and you being the sister duo. There's a lot of more things. So I mean, it's so let's start from the very beginning. And that's how I like to take it. Okay, so it's pretty much clear that you both have been you both are there in the family business, and your dad has been into several businesses, and from the very early age you both had a sense towards doing something more creative on the fashion side
Mm-hmm.
and everything of that sort. But I would also say that you've been looking at your dad doing business from a very long time, from the very early ages, both of you. So
Correct.
if I ask you, like being the sister duo out there, what have you guys picked up, and when did do you really feel that business started rubbing off into you, and you both were like, "Nay, yaar, I guess business is the thing." Because Malika, you left your job. Devika, you came to a realization that if my design can already go for a celebrity, why not I can start my own brand, right?
Correct.
This was one realization that was a hit that you guys had. So before that, well, what was the thing that you kind of picked up from your dad in the early ages of the business, from the that you used to see him, and what was this mindset like?
So I suppose that, that there's something that, dad has been following this idea of having patience. That is something
Exactly.
Okay.
I
I
was about to say the same thing.
I really suck at. I literally suck at it. I can't have patience when it comes to things, in ensuring that everything is executed on time, or if things are just not happening, and then I get very anxious. I tend to get extremely anxious. So I think that is something that we are. I think both of us are trying to pick it up.
Yeah.
Rather, I think the three of us, because all of us are new, we're young. It takes time to kind of learn everything. Um, Also, let me tell you, dad is basically a retired colonel. So he
Okay.
served the Indian Army, and it was, I think, back in 2010 or 2011 when he took his PMR, premature retirement, and that is when he kind of
Right.
dived into the business. So it's kind of been a
Okay.
learning journey for him as well, because at the age of I think 45 is when he kind of started his entrepreneur career, and then he has been going forward. He didn't look back, and he's been very strong headed. So I think one thing that he has always taught us, uh,
Hmm.
पैसे की गर्मी बर्दाश्त करना सीखो, and the other thing is to have the patience that you require.
Patience. There have I
Wow.
like have a lot of examples. For example, there was a fabric that I had ordered, and
Hmm.
the fabric that was delivered was wrong, and the payment had
Hmm.
already gone. And the amount of
Right.
anxiety I had, and
Right.
how angry I was that the wrong fabric has been delivered. And my father's
Hmm.
reaction came like, ठीक है कोई बात नहीं दूसरा ऑर्डर कर ले तू. That is what his answer was. And I was like, how can someone be so calm with such a short deadline and you are being delivered wrong fabric? How can you stay
Uh-huh.
this calm?
I think that's where experience falls in. That is where experience falls in. Okay, so now since you told me that your dad was into army first and he took a PMR, so this actually opens another question out here. So he took his PMR at 45. So I believe that you both were there by the time he took his PMR,
True.
and right. So being the daughter of an army man of an army man, there's a different perspective altogether initially, because many times you guys are traveling because of the transfers, and there's a different aura altogether around an army man. Okay, he's very disciplined, the kind of life he lives and all that stuff. So probably, if I'm not wrong, you guys have somewhere seen him transitioning from that army man to an entrepreneur, right? So
Majorly.
right. So, what did that transition teach you guys? And, uh, like, how have you guys coped up? Because, there's a difference in the teaching that starts coming with it. Because if I tell you, like, my dad is a businessman, I have seen a lot of businessmen since my early ages, right? And
Mhm.
the kind of preaching that I have had since my early time has been like, Sarthak, employees को ऐसे treat करो, business में ऐसे करो, या फलाना करो, ढिमकाना करो. It's all been business. But
Mhm.
for you guys, if I think
Hmm.
of it, it would have been like, आर्मी में हमेशा ऐसे होता है, तुम ऐसे करो वैसे करो, and then when he steps into a different shoe, it would be like, अच्छा business में ये हो रहा है, then you have to do this, do that. So there's a stepful learning, I would say. So how have you guys grown over the two learning? I would really want to know that, because it's a step change change in the mindset.
No, no, that's there. I mean, I totally agree on that. Being an army officer, he has been serving the nation, he has been serving the country. But what he was in office, of course, he was not something that he was at home. He has always been a dear dad. Um,
Okay.
the kind of culture that he's probably worked in, or he has been working in right now also, it's pretty much the same, only the lines have
Mm-hmm.
changed. So earlier he was working with the government. Now he's become a civilian. So I think he's going to get extremely annoyed if I tell him that you've become a civilian right now, because he says that um, uh, क्या बोलते हैं वो, an army man never retires, a soldier never retires. Yes. So yeah, so I think I should take my words back, because in case he listens to this, he's going to be very pissed. So dad, you've
Okay.
never retired. Yeah, that's there. Having said that, he has tried to implement the same work culture which he has been following when he was working with the Ministry of Defense in Delhi, and
Mm-hmm.
when later on, and in all the different locations whenever he was basically working in the office. So here also, for instance, all the people that he looks at hiring, he ensures that
Mm-hmm.
the kind of protocols that we used to follow in the Indian army, same needs to be implemented here. And kind of just in terms of the way he speaks, or in terms of the body language that he has, it's damn scary. It really is because he is a 6'2",
Oh
six
my
two
God. He's pretty tall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's 6'2", and it's crazy. And he has this heavy voice, and he looks at you, and then on the inside you are kind of dead, but then you can't pretend to be dead.
You're making him sound like a monster.
No, no, he's not a monster. I mean, he's the kind of person whom at the end of the day I can scold, and then he's just gonna laugh it off. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he
Right.
does. But he tries to bring in the same culture, the same work ethics, uh, and he tries to kind of help out people who are from the army, or
Army
who are
background.
from the defense forces, and in case he is able to provide employment to them within the organization, he feels it's much more easier for him to coordinate. So there are I think from the very beginning of the organization, he has been kind of getting in a lot of retired colonels. He has gotten a lot of
Hmm.
retired subedars and majors. So he kind of just brings in his own touch within the organization.
Okay. So, Devika, would it be right for me to say that exactly this is what you've picked up from your dad, and this is one of the reasons that you wanna get employment for more people in your city, that is the tier two city, and not coming down back to the tier one, the sharper jet or the Bombay high fashion streets and all those people, all those stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This is one of the major reasons. I think when I was in 12th standard, that is when my parents had already started making me understand that why is it important to run a business in your hometown. Like there's no point. So there's this line that my parents always say that
Mm-hmm.
बड़े शहर में काम करने से ज्यादा अच्छा आप छोटे शहर के राजा हो.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So which that is
That's
what
interesting.
actually yeah, that is what actually got in my head, and I was like, yeah, why not go for it? Like, why not help your dad
Wow,
here? Yeah.
that's
Instead of
great. So, are you looking forward to being the queen of Agra, the next queen of Agra?
I won't say queen, but yes, I want to develop
Princess,
something here.
princess for now. Okay, okay, okay. That's a great thing. Yeah, that's a really great thing.
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
so let's move on in your journey, guys. So, Devika, you kind of went to the college and then for an internship to Bombay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Malika, you after the after NIFT Bangalore, did you do any masters or something?
Also, NIFT Bangalore was my master's. I did
Okay,
my undergrad in history. I did my honors in history from
That is
Dhandho
what
Ni
I
wow,
Soch.
was saying, that she has
that was a
had a
huge
roller
switch.
coaster ride.
That's a huge switch out there from history to fashion.
I know it's been madness. I think I've never been very courageous when it comes to being able to choose career paths. And I mean, I know that sounds very stupid, but I've always been very scared, and I do not prefer taking risks, to be very honest. Whereas the people
Okay.
around me, all three of them, my dad, my husband, and my sister, all three of them always emphasize कि अगर risk नहीं लिया तो क्या किया, and I start panicking the minute
Exactly. I mean, you're an entrepreneur now. Come
I
on,
know,
you have
I
to take
know,
some risk.
I know. So I think that's the reason why Devika is there. She's the one who ends up taking the risk, and I kind of just try to calm her down when and if required. But no, like
Wow.
talking about my educational background, I did my undergrad from Gargi College, Delhi University, and
Okay.
I did my honors in history from there.
Hmm.
Going forward, I did my masters in fashion management from NIFT Bangalore. It was really nice because the very first internship that I took was in Bata, and that was Bata,
Okay.
Sri Lanka. So I was in Colombo for 2 months. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and from there I kind of went to my final year project, which was with the Adidas group, and that was in Gurgaon. And then after that, my very first job was with the Future Group, and there I was basically working for two brands. And then later on, I went to Bombay, and ultimately I've landed up here. helping out my sister,
Okay.
my dad, and my husband.
That's Colombo, that's Gurgaon, that's Bombay, and then that's back to Agra. Okay, okay, that's really great. Kafi traveling here.
Oh my God,
Okay.
don't get me started. It's been a mad mess. I think I was just the other day I was kind of just, uh pinning down how many houses have I changed in the past 3 or 4 years. I think it's been more than
Uh-huh.
10, and it's been crazy. It's really
My
crazy.
goodness,
Yeah.
that is huge. Okay, okay. So, it's a question to both of you sisters that during the college time, did you do anything which was related to business, or was it a roller coaster and fun ride that masti masti mein college nikal gaya sara?
Um, okay. So I think for me it was always very clear. Matlab NIFT was always fun for me, to be very honest,
Okay,
because during my
okay.
undergrad I was kind of like serious towards studies, and I was always this really introvert kind of a person who would just go to college and come back to her place, and then that's it. And then I went to NIFT, and then NIFT happened. so ha-
Oh my God, I like this. The NIFT happened.
yeah, yeah. So Lyft was like really nice because it was
Right.
an experience for me. I kind of started going out more. I kind of started exploring more cities nearby. I traveled, and luckily the people, the gang that I had there, those guys were really really nice. It was really nice. I think it's been quite something that I always cherish, and I would want to relive when and if given a chance.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So it was fun, right? And what about you, Devika? Was it fun, or did you do something related to business out there? Maybe selling merchandise?
Okay, no. So when I was planning to get into Pearl Academy, I actually assumed like any other kid, like it must be super glamorous and very fancy. And the moment I got into Pearl Academy, it was absolutely upside down. We were in college working till maximum 7 p.m. and we were sitting on machines, sitting crying that our garment is not finishing, our assignments are not getting over, and it was almost it continued till fourth year. But when I was in third year, I actually realized that this is gonna continue for whole life. So let's just start having fun. So that is when I actually started having fun and also
Okay.
took care of my studies and everything. But before that,
Okay.
I was super stressed out and always going to college and coming back to home. That's all.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
before I really proceed with the question which I have been hanging in my head, I really want to point out one thing to my listeners here that, guys, you need to pick up one thing from Malika, which I have been trying to explain to I don't know how many n number of people, and probably my brother as well, that if you really want to do the masters, you can do masters in any field
Yeah.
and you can make the switch. I mean, she's a live example out there. You really don't have to do like engineer तो engineering की master करनी है engineer के बाद MBA कर सकते हो engineer के बाद भी तुम fashion कर सकते हो कोई मना नहीं करने वाला तुम्हें
I
so
know. I mean, it's okay. Just hear your calling. That's it.
right, 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 right. So if you plan to doing a master's, something which I'm not very much favor of personally, I would say just dive into your career then. But if you do the masters, uh, just pick up the field that you like, right? Okay. So guys, now the actual question that I really want to ask is, Malika and Devika, you guys
Hmm.
have switched cities like I don't know why. Okay, that's really amazing. So the thing is that you guys actually hail from a tier 2 city, but you've had experiences in Gurgaon, Bombay, Bangalore, and Malika, as you just mentioned, NIFT happened. So that's not exactly NIFT, that's Bangalore, what I say. Bangalore happened. Okay. Because I've been to Bangalore. Bangalore is such an amazing city. Honestly, can't ever get over it. So I would say cities have happened to you. So now what I really want to know, what happened with you guys when you went into those different cities coming from Agra, and what was the differences in the mindset that started coming into your heads, and how did your perspective towards life and business and towards getting better changed? I want to know about that.
Okay, so to be very honest about this, I mean, we've never kind of, had this thing that, we're from Agra because
Hmm.
being from an army background, we were born in Agra and then we were brought up across India. That is how, it is, I think, for majority of the army kids. Um,
Right.
so, I mean, a
Yeah, I think
certain
we
part of
have
you
always
is
been
there.
used to settling to different places, so it has
Hmm.
always like been easy for us to adjust in a new city.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we were born here and then we kind of picked up our schooling from here. Then for a while we were in Pune. Then I think for a while we were in Punjab. Then back to Agra, and then again we were. I mean, from what I remember, 3 years we were in Delhi. Again, this is what I'm talking about during the school time. We were 3 years in
Right.
Delhi, so both of us were in NCS. Then we came back and we were in Prelude, and that's where I completed my 10th and 12th from. And then again, I went back to Delhi for my higher studies. Yeah,
Okay.
so I
So,
mean,
but
repeatedly.
still, I mean, there would be something, no, in terms of mindset that would have changed. I mean, I understand the traveling part, but there's a maturity that happens. Like the mature you are right now, and mature Devika is right now. You weren't that mature. Like as Devika said, when I was a kid and stepped into the college, I was like, it's gonna be too glamorous. Something, even I felt so, but then the reality hit me hard.
Yeah.
So what? So I want to know about that mindset because that does play a lot of role in you being developed as an entrepreneur.
So I really think that a lot of that kind of also affects from the kind of people you're surrounded with, and how they influence you in your lives, right?
Right.
So touch wood, my friend circle in Delhi, like my college friends from Gargi, those guys are someone whom I look up to, and I have been in touch till date. And those guys were there for my wedding, so we're like sisters. Then when you talk about my the group in NIFT. I think that's again like a second family that I've had. And yeah, I mean, with changing cities and moving out from your house from your parents for the first time is kind of an experience, because I remember when I went to Delhi for the first time, for when I was basically put into college, and then I was basically living in a flat on my own. And
Hmm.
my Masi was there to kind of look after me, but she was living in a different flat. So for the first week I used to like go to the college, come back, and uh, I literally used to cry for for the entire week. I went on and I cried, and I was like, no, I want to go back home, and this really sucks. I think it makes more sense to stay with their parents and all of that. But I think after 1 week I was okay. I kind of just settled in. I think the only part which was difficult was that parents are not there, but eventually I think it was okay. It was only during the very first time when I've had this trouble कि यार नहीं बहुत ही ज़्यादा बुरा लग रहा है that you've just gotten out of your home, and you kind of have to manage everything on your own. But then after time, I think we've been very strong throughout. So that's not really an issue, because Bangalore was normal. I mean, after that, everything was literally normal. There was nothing that kind of uh, emphasized on the fact कि नहीं ये शहर है तो इधर ऐसा हो जाएगा, वो है तो वो हो जाएगा. I think it's just a good learning experience in terms of the kind of people you interact with and the cities you've been to and the places you've
Hmm.
explored. So yeah, that's it. I think it's been really really nice in all of the cities. But I still feel that I feel like coming back to Delhi every now and then, because I've spent majority of my life there. I have my friends there. I have some of my family also there. So yeah, I think it's really really nice. I really really miss that city.
Okay. And what about you, Devika?
Okay, so I have always felt, obviously, Malika being the elder daughter, she has always been very adjusting and independent and also understanding in different situations. And I have been
Hmm.
the pampered one. So when I moved
Okay.
to Delhi and I had to take care of my flat on my own, it was a bit difficult, but still there was someone to see me or take care of me. The place where I was actually able to explore and had to live independently was in Mumbai. where I also
Hmm.
had to take care of my finance and everything. I still remember I used to go to office by auto and come back by auto just to save 500 bucks. Imagine. That is the
I
kind of,
can.
yeah, that is the kind of financial understanding I had no idea about in Delhi. But when I moved to Mumbai, I was very much cautious about spending money and making sure that I'm not troubling my cousins. I was staying with my cousins and not troubling them for anything I need or anything like that. That is where, like, I was staying independently and taking care of everything because nobody was there around me to see me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right. So, okay, and then post Bombay, you back to Agra, right?
No, after I completed my internship, it was my fourth year. So that is where we had to work on final project, which was to be displayed in a fashion show. That is Amazon Fashion Week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that is where we had displayed one garment. One garment was displayed by each student, and I was lucky enough that I got a model, supermodel named Sonalika Sahai, who was representing my garment. So yeah, it was fun.
You really are no less than a celebrity, yeah. I should actually, come down and take your autograph. Never know, 10 years down the line, you're a big ass designer out there. I'm like, oh my God, I did an interview with Devika. I'm so happy.
I really, really hope that happens. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
really, really
Yes,
happens.
yes. We all are hoping, we all are working towards the very same thing. Okay, so I get, so the way I see it, guys, I mean, it was pretty easy for you to switch from cities because of the early upbringing, and there wasn't a lot of change in the mindset. But there's another thing that actually adds on, like what Devika just mentioned, that working on your own and doing all your chores on your own and taking care of those 500 bucks. So Devika, how, if I really want to ask you that, what did that instill in you, and how are you using that learning in your entrepreneurial journey right now? So what would you say? And Malika, what do you see on this perspective? Because I know this plays a lot of big role in the in your entrepreneur journey.
Okay. So what really happens is, like, I'll be very honest, I'm very chindi, and
Uh,
when it comes to, like, making decisions and all of that, my
uh,
uh, final word is इससे सस्ता नहीं हो सकता. And then, so it's not just her. I think everyone, including the merchandiser that we have here, or let's just
uh,
be it, like, probably the marketing executive that we have here, or as a matter of fact, even my dad or my husband, uh, I think all of them kind of are really irritated by this fact कि बस चिंदीगिरी and पैसे बचाने में लगी रहती है. But then I but then I kind of feel that it's good that one of us is actually like that, so that there's a sense
uh,
of balance, and then there's a sense of what do you call security that I have in my mind. I mean, even after committing कि ठीक है सबसे कम हो गया, तब भी back of the mind I'm like, अरे नहीं यार, और कम हो सकता था.
yeah,
So
every time. So I, being an artist, I want everything to look very nice. I'm very much particular about aesthetic, which
right,
also needs money. If you want a good output, you need money. And when I
right.
create something and I tell her that this is what I'm creating and the budget is going to be this much, and she's going to be like, no, not happening. This cannot be done. Sorry.
it really sucks. Yeah, I mean, I know it's very sad, but I don't know. I've just been like that from the very beginning. The minute you ask me something, now I won't say yes right away. It's always like so. For instance, let's just say if you were to ask me, Malika, do you want to have this? And then I'm like, huh? No. And then after 2 minutes, probably I will tell you yes. Let's. I mean, I can certainly have it, but my initial answer has only become no, and then it's very weird. I mean, I sometimes start doubting myself that what has happened to me and why I've become like that. But I think it's all because of the kind of work that I've been doing, and I've just become. I mean, it's mostly work. There's not right the proportionate balance that is supposed to be 50% personal, 50% professional. Because when you're working, with your family, you tend to talk about business every now and then. So it's rather 70% professional and 30% personal. So yeah, that's there.
I really thought so, that Devika is gonna come up and say कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा cautious हो गई हूँ, मैं चिंदी हो गई हूँ because
No,
बॉम्बे में रह रहकर I was like, पैसे बचाने, travel में खर्चा नहीं करना, all
No,
that stuff.
man, it,
But
it it sucks. Okay, so I am that kind of a person, and I've been like that from the very beginning.
she has been like that since starting.
Yeah, and that just really sucks. So the other day, we were basically preparing a hamper. Okay, so we were doing very customized products for different purposes, which is not for sale, which is just for gifting purpose.
right.
So she came to me and then she was like, "ये वाला इस कपड़े में नहीं बन सकता. This looks very bad, and blah 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 blah. It has to be for a richer fabric, and needs to be very nice looking and all of that." I listened to her, and just to convince her that no, this fabric is fine, and because this rate is doable, I kind of just told her, I will go home and I'll try this, and I'm telling you this will look nice. And at the end of the day, I kind of just convinced her कि नहीं यही जाना है. And similarly,
हाँ.
so for instance, the same hamper that I'm talking about, we were supposed to do a customized diary. So my team kind of came to me and then they told me, नहीं मैम ये देखो इतने से कम में नहीं हो पाएगा. And then I was like, अच्छा okay. And then on the inside, I was like, कैसे नहीं हो सकता, कैसे नहीं हो सकता. And that's the worst part. So I can't show that sort of anxiety in front of people, because then I just end up becoming very angry. I'm just like, dude, I know it's cheaper, it's lesser the cost. So then I ended up googling a lot of alternatives, and then silently I was sending the links and everything on WhatsApp, and like, talk to them, these guys are cheaper. And then I mean, I'm sure probably the entire staff probably thinks that what a big time snob I am, or what a big
And
time.
then they come crying to me कि मैम क्या बोलूँ मैं इनको क्या ही बोलूँ मैं.
Yeah, so that is how it is.
Okay, okay. My goodness. So that's nice, yeah, that's nice. And how about the management, yeah? How about the management? Because Devika and Malika, you guys have lived a lot outside, and you guys have managed a lot on your own. So how is your management in your business like? I mean, what do you guys really pick up from you living alone and micromanaging a lot of stuff there for yourself, now doing the management for the business? How do you guys relate? Like, I want you guys to connect those two dots and bring into me your mindset on this portion. Like, I really want to want you to guys to dive into that thing.
Okay, so I really think how we are kind of able to pull that off is uh, my mom and my dad. Mostly
Hmm.
my dad has been always emphasizing on this fact कि um, you won't be able to teach people anything till the time you are not clear about it. And
Right.
having said that, be it any of our products that we make, or any of the products that we sell, we have to be clear about the end to end of the product. Correct.
Hmm.
um,
Right.
Now there are teeny miny things when we were living on our own individually in XYZ cities. We used to
Right.
we used to ensure that ये चीज़ है तो इसके साथ ये जाएगा, ये चीज़ है तो ये जाएगा. For instance, let's just take an example of cooking. Yeah. So in case if you're making a
Hmm.
particular sabzi, you need certain masalas, and these are just like teeny miny things which you kind of just know, and you
Uh-huh.
learn during the process when you're living on your own. Similarly, that kind of micromanagement comes here, where for instance, let's just say we were supposed to launch a website. Teeny
Hmm.
tiny things, products का shoot हो गया या नहीं, back end पे कैसा चल रहा है, is everything synced properly. So all of that just kind of comes into the picture, where we have learned and we have picked up that micromanaging all of that is very very important. And I think that sort of sense of responsibility has come because we were living individually, we were living on our own, and you kind of know that there's no one to really look out for you but you yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something that has been emphasizing on our lives all along and all this while, and I think that's kind of has taught us that we need to pick everything and double check everything and ensure that everything is on point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Devika, do you want to add something to it?
Okay, talking about management, Malika has always been good with management, but I'll be very honest with you, I have like lagged a lot when it comes to management. I'm still struggling to manage things because being a designer, I have always been very focused with designing and everything. I'm very good at designing and creating a product, and the output is very good, but when it comes to taking care of production, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it's because I'm an OCD or whatever. The management is something that I'm never satisfied with. Be it like the product is not finished on time, or there is something missing, or like I am just not satisfied when it comes to management, and I'm still struggling to figure out things. So yeah, but it's okay. I think it's okay. I'm still figuring out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's something. So I mean that is something I can pick up from your guys' lessons in living in different cities and how you guys are somewhere applying this in your business. Now, what? Let's get to the business part, right? And why don't you talk to me about the initial stages of the business? Like how was the initial funding of the business, and where did you guys manage the funds from? How was this initial phase like of setting up House of Tomar?
So we initially, you know where the whole idea came from, right? So I think we are clear
Right,
on that. Um,
right.
when it comes to the financial backing, it was I think we have been touched wood very lucky on that part because our dad has been very supportive because of his business that has been into existence for more than a decade now. We were kind of okay with the fact we can start off with something of that sort, because I think that is
Mm-hmm.
the initial trouble that a lot of entrepreneurs face when it comes to arranging all the funds and arranging all the finances for execution.
Right,
Correct.
right.
So I think that is something that we were pretty much sorted about. But again, having said that, our dad very clearly told us that there's a certain plan that you need to jot down, and there's a certain finance limit that you need to set to ensure that everything is executed on time and everything is just kind of um, put into place. And we kind of had to come up with a plan to figure out key what are we going to do in the next 6 months and how are we going to make things work. So
Mm-hmm.
we were lucky enough to have that money, but the smart planning and execution of it was, I think, mostly because of the brainstorming that we were doing. And I think majority of the credit kind of goes to uh, dad for it, because he was always there to kind of guide you, or to be your mentor and tell you
Yeah.
what's right and what's wrong. So that is something I think we were okay with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Devika, what would you add to it?
No, I think financial is something Malika is always taking care of. So she has told you pretty much enough.
Oh, now it's Hardik, by the way. I mean, since he has been in the
Yeah.
business, I mean, both of us just end up saying, "Yeah, Hardik, kuch karna hai," and then he's just like, "Arey." So we kind of just, yeah, it's the three of us trying to make it happen.
That's really nice. Yeah, that's really really nice. Okay, so now this is clear that you had a good backing from that. No, okay. So now what I really want to know is that there's a lot of mindset. Okay, now and the kind of and a I don't know and a generation gap also. Okay, so as you mentioned that there's a lot of backing from the dad in terms of helping, in terms of finances and all those parts, and he kind of forced you to create a plan out of it. So the major question that really comes up to me is How did you guys ever had a argument or a fight or any kind of stuff on that point where Malika, you being the eldest, then the dad, and Devika, you being the youngest, you guys are trying to pour in an idea, and probably it's not communicating to him, or maybe his experience is not getting communicated to you. There's an X plan that you want to execute, and he's not able to understand, or maybe you guys are not able to understand. So did those kind of stuff ever happen while you were trying to set this up? And if it did happen, how did you guys come over it? How did you guys communicate, and what was the things like?
Okay. So dad has always been there to kind of, be the godfather, not that godfather, but which
Hmm.
is just kind of the person who overviews and looks from the above and kind of supervises. He never kind of gets involved into your business until and unless you don't tell him to. So he has always been kind of supervising us whenever for instance of whatever actions we're taking or whatever we're doing. Whereas when you talk about me and Devika, we fight. I mean, we have fought like anything when it comes to making the products on time, or getting the execution sorted, or to ensuring कि launch कब करना है, कौन से season में क्या जाएगा, me commenting on her designs, she telling me कि इतना नहीं होना चाहिए stock. So of course we've everyone have probably faced this sort of a situation when there are two people or more people working together, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong in that at the end of the day,
Mhm.
because what we have been taught uh, is that you should come back to each other, and in case you're not able to do that, then you are just not sufficient enough to kind of make that make it happen altogether. So House of Tomar is important for both of us, because at the end of the day it is our name that goes behind it, right? So
Hmm.
if it's
Exactly.
both of us, and if it's the both of us and we have to make it work, we argue, we fight, but we probably walk into other rooms, and like in a movie scene, you walk into different directions, we walk into different directions, calm ourselves down, and then come back and speak. So I
Hmm.
think that is how we have been dealing with situations throughout. I mean, of course, because different people have different opinions and different thinking. So
Right.
that's fine, there's nothing wrong in that, but we've always come back to each other.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Devika, being the younger one, do you want to add something to this? कि मैंने इतने बर्तन फेंक के मारा है मलिका को, ऐसा कुछ?
No, no, yeah. I mean, ouch. That's that's
No, no,
that's
no.
extreme violence, yeah. What are you saying? You don't do that.
No, I think like I told you that I being an artist, I have a different perspective when it comes to designs or creating any kind of product, and she has a different perspective because she is from the marketing field. So of course, we do that tu me mein, but eventually I know that without her it won't be easy for me, and the same goes for her. So I think it's okay if we fight.
Oh, that's sweet. That's like the little sister duo speaking right now. That's really really sweet. Yeah. Okay. So this is something that I've got now. So the funding was pretty clear. Okay, but did this thing happen, like he kind of assigned you a loan, ki, I'm loaning you this amount, and just to make you learn or something for that
Yeah,
matter?
man.
Did he
Oh
ever
my
Correct.
say that?
God. So he hasn't
Correct.
ever kind of emphasized as such, but then he keeps on telling us, इतना चला गया है, देख लेना तुम्हारे बजट में कितना
Exactly.
and then we're just like we need to make it happen. Earlier it was just the two of us, but now we kind of just go jumping to Hardik ki
Yeah.
क्या अभी क्या करना है, and then he kind of helps us figure out a plan ki this is how we're supposed to manage and this is how we're supposed to execute. So I think he's a finance brain that kind of makes sure that everything is executed on time, because he's
Right,
also
Mm.
the digital genius expert, whatever you want to call him, who kind of needs to ensure that sales are also happening on time. So I think it's a lot of pressure on him as well when it comes to making House of Tomar a success that we see it.
right, right, right. My God. Okay, so he's your finance wizard now,
Yeah.
guiding you guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
finance and digital expert. I'm telling you, no second thoughts on that.
okay. That's really great. So what's your plan? Like how's the sales coming around, and how are you really looking forward to kind of grow it on that manner? Because and how are you planning to return something to that? Because
Okay.
that is where the a lot of people like the ethics and the questions that starts coming in, that I have to give back. So what is your plan on that?
We've been in this situation where initially any business that kind of grows, and especially when you talk about a fashion brand, you need to have a break even of 3 years. So 3 years is
Okay.
something that we kind of need to be focused on कि नहीं इतना time देना पड़ेगा to ensure that things are running smoothly, things are functioning smoothly, and everything is working fine. As of now, our only aim is to ensure that whatever we put up on our website, or probably to any of the exhibitions that we take, we just need to make relevant amount of sales so that money kind of just comes back into the cycle, because that is something that we've been emphasizing on from the very beginning. And sadly this COVID situation kind of came in between. So we were kind of facing a lot of issue in terms of making the sales happen and making everything happen. And our website, which was supposed to go live, and RGO was supposed to happen, so all of that was kind of put on hold, and everything just shifted 6 months, got delayed 6 months rather. And but anyway, I think whatever happens happens for the best. And that's the reason I think we were able to finally take this call and launch our own website, which happened yesterday. So we were just hoping, I mean, it's just been a day, so we are gonna probably wait for a month and see before commenting or telling you the plan of action ki aage kya karna hai. Like I said,
Yeah.
Right.
the patience patience is the key. Need to wait for a month and see that how things are working out. Yeah.
Right. So right now your major focus is to make it no profit, no loss, get the investment back, and 3 years down the line, probably 4 5 years, then you look at giving back to your dad. That's the plan. That's
So
the way
we
I can
can
see it, at least.
we can actually start giving back to him depending on how these sales, this season ka sale does, and how the next
Yeah.
Hmm.
season ka sale does. For brands,
Oh,
it may vary. Okay, so I mean, you may never know. Maybe in a month's time, we will probably all sold out. So
hmm.
you may never know. और probably ये भी हो सकता है कि इतना ज़्यादा अच्छे sales नहीं हो. So we can just forecast, fashion forecasting is just done on such
Exactly.
basis कि ठीक है इतना हम assume कर रहे हैं, but then like I said, I need to wait for a month to kind of give that sort of commitment. Our aim of course is to be able to kind of give him back whatever was kind of taken from him in terms of the finances and time and efforts, and we kind of like give it back
Right.
in a year. That is what we hope for, but that is something.
But dad being dad, he won't take it. All dads are
No,
like that.
no. It's, I mean,
No, no,
it's
no.
all,
I think he has a lot of belief in us, which is why he's giving us so much of time.
yeah,
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's not like he won't take it back, because he keeps on telling us this one thing: you run a business, you
Hmm.
make money, ensure that majority of that goes back into the business for it to grow.
Right.
Yeah. So that is what I think even he will probably tell us कि
Mm.
वापस देने का सेंस नहीं है बड़ा करो because he really wants to see House of Tomar growing and going global. He kind of emphasized on the fact कि चलो इसको उधर खाना वाले भी उधर भी भेजते हैं. We will अरे dad, calm down. We're not able to figure out your other businesses. It's literally taking us forever to kind of channelize the entire bit, and then all of a sudden you come us and you come on to us and you tell us कि अच्छा ये भी कर लेते हैं. नहीं, let's just do one country at a time. Let's do at least
Right.
one business at a time and then kind of execute it. He is a multitasker. He's working 24/7, I guess, but us on the other hand, we have been kind of very, I mean, we may not be able to pull off as well as how he works or what he is or how he is, but we're just
Hmm.
trying to get there, trying to be that 0.1% of what he is.
Yeah.
Right, 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 right. I perfectly understand. Okay, so on this very note, there's another thing that I'm picking up, and I've picked up a lot from the conversation as of now. That is, you've continuously told me that your dad has done multiple businesses. Okay,
Yeah.
from foot, it started from footwear to selling huge barrels of something. I'm
No,
so
no.
sorry, heavy material shipping,
Yeah,
exporting.
it was
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
duty buses basically.
Right, and then to another business, and then to another business. So I mean, and luckily, all the business have gone done well for you guys, and you guys are doing good. So on this part, when you look at it, there's this thing that that comes up in a normal notion that people say out there. Many businessmen say that focus on one business and then diversify. Okay, Warren Buffett, in terms of investment, says put all your eggs into one basket. He doesn't diversify as much, right? So that is something that is said a lot in the business community, that focus at one thing and do not divert in many places. So when I look at you and the way your dad has made it work, what is that you pick up from him in terms of this very specific thing of opening many businesses and running together? Do you also plan somewhere to start alongside many business, or do you want to stay focused on this for now and then diversify in the future? What is your plan like? What are you picking up from him on that matter?
Sarthak, I think we already have a lot on our plate. We don't want to add more.
Yeah, exactly.
It is
I
a
think for
lot
the coming 3 years, I would want to focus on one thing only and not
Yeah,
diversify.
it is.
Definitely.
It is a lot. I mean, because the saddest part is none of these businesses are kind of interdependent, or none of these businesses are relatable. These all are like individual entities, and then you kind of
Right,
just need to know all the ABCD to XYZ of every business that he has, and every business has a
right.
different functionality. It's a different product, and it's a different service. So I think the only, I mean, she's still saying 3 years. I would say for another 10 years, if I can make this, happen and work smoothly, I think that is something that would be a task for me, because I want to kind of make it 10 times bigger, but I don't want to kind of expand my verticals yet.
Okay, okay, okay. I get your point of view. I completely get your point of view. That's nice. Okay. So now let's move ahead in the business. And the very first thing of the conversation when we started, you pointed out one thing, that hiring people has been a trouble, right? And these tailors come up with some new scenarios every day, and there's a lot of labor problems that happens. And there's something that a lot of businesses and many of us face in terms of hiring, firing, and all that stuff. So doing that for the first time, right, and realizing that you have to do this over and over again, I don't know how many n number of times in your business as you go ahead in the journey, what has this taught you, and how have you made things better, and how has this changed your mental space? Like, because initially, even I was of the mindset that when I started out, that this person is working, he will stay with me forever and ever. And apparently this happens in our relationships also. The first girlfriend, the first boyfriend, it's like this is forever and ever. Then it's like, okay, fuck, this is not happening. We need there's someone else who's gonna come in. So what has this taught you guys,
You
like both
you
of
you
you?
actually sound like my dad. He always
Right.
cribs about the fact, and I think lately even Hardik has been doing that. They always crib about this, that uh, अगर मैं किसी को सिखाऊँगा और वो 6 महीने में भाग गया और 1 साल में चला गया, and then I'm like,
Huh.
"But dude, that's how everyone works." I mean, if a person finds a better opportunity, they will go. When we were
Exactly.
working for people, we also did the same thing, right? Everyone does that. Everyone is
Hmm.
probably looking to grow. They want to grow as individuals. I mean, I understand that, you teach people and you kind of teach everyone, or you kind of, make them understand how the business works, but you kind of need to have this sort of psyche and be mentally ready in case if a person is working with you. It's good till the time they are, but it doesn't mean that they won't go. So that sort of stability is there with me, and I think it's there with Devika also. But it kind of has been hitting dad, and it has been hitting Hardik lately, because it's very difficult to kind of find people for his particular vertical. So
Hmm.
Right.
that's there, but I think it's been okay for me. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of look at the HR bit also here. So along with the my HR team, I manage that also, and that is something that I think we have been smoothly able to function it and ensure that how system of an MNC works, and that is what we
Hmm.
have been implementing here. At least from the time that I have joined my dad's business, I've ensured that we work exactly like a proper MNC works, because I really want to bring in that culture, and I really emphasize on the fact that um, if you have a good environment and if you have a good space to work in, you will be able to attract that sort of forces, and you will be able to attract that sort of people. So I think it's whatever we are doing, it should be probably for the benefit of the organization at the end of the day.
Right, right, right. On this part, there's another question that I would, actually love to ask. So, if you have a story, like you already told me one story, the short story. It wasn't a story; it was a like composition. जो होता है ना बचपन में लिखते थे छोटी सी composition लिखो मुझे वैसा लगा अभी तो that's why I'm asking for a story right now that in this hiring firing process in your initial stage, if you have a story where someone came in and something happened, and a funny story or maybe a weird story which you can share with us.
Okay, so I don't feel like, I mean, it's not right, first of all, to kind of name out people. So I think
No,
that
it's okay. You don't have to
there.
name them. Just tell the
Yeah.
story. I am not interested in the story. Naming is fine.
So there was this time, okay, we had an XYZ person who was managing XYZ thing, okay, and
Mhm.
then that basically person was very new, okay, and then that person was not able to kind of pick up all the pace and everything, and being in a fashion brand, and if it's something that you have tight deadlines with, and then you're not able to meet it, so it kind of becomes very troublesome. And like I said, we don't have a lot of people for different departments as such. We have limited
Mhm.
workforce, and those other people who kind of manage majority of the work here. So that was kind
Right.
of not happening smoothly. So then one fine day I kind of sat with them, and then they yeah, I sat with them because they ended up telling me that you should kind of increase my salary, and I was like, dude, really? At least make them at least run your this thing, at least department smoothly, and then come and talk to me about increasing your salary. So I was like, and this was the time period of COVID, okay, when a lot of people were sadly getting fired, and a lot of people were losing
Right.
their jobs, whereas dad was very much clear कि किसी को निकालना नहीं है. He's always been like that. He has never thrown out anyone. I mean, if someone wants to go, they want to go. You can't keep them. But he has always emphasized कि नहीं, किसी का salary ऐसा रुकना नहीं चाहिए, and you kind of just at least ensure that at least even if it's a pay cut या जो भी है, but salary needs to go out so that the person is able to survive. So
Right.
that's there, and it was a situation of COVID, and we're not that much of a big organization, right? We were not like
Hmm.
one of the Tatas or Ambanis. We are an MSME. We're generally a small organization. Um but then that person, apparently just comes up to me and tells me, "Ki aisa aisa karna hai," and then I'm like, "Yeah, dude, what nonsense? I mean, I just told you that the situation is so tight and all of that, you can't just go." And then yeah, so that conversation happened, and I think it's probably because of the way I talk, and like I said, I get very anxious about things, and I was any which ways very upset, so that kind of just got out, and I was like, dude, this is just not right, how can you do something like that? And I promise you, I'm not even kidding. I didn't insult anyone. I didn't say anything. I was just trying to, make them understand that why it is actually wrong to kind of just ask for a hike in the given point of time, because the situation
Hmm.
is extremely tight. Had it not been a tight situation and your work was fine, I would have still kind of considered it. So that's there. And the very next day, the person comes and tells me that I want to resign, and then I was like, huh? And then there was a sense of self guilt and everything, and I was just kind of secretly dying on the inside that, oh my god, what did I do? We any which ways don't find people, and then all of a sudden this person is also going, who's going to manage our work. Our website was supposed to get launched, and all of this has happened like recently in the span of 1 or 2 months. Okay, so I was like
Okay.
panicking, and I was like, dude, I don't know what to do, what to do. And she's telling me all of this person, and then I'm like, acha, theek hai. And then all of a sudden, this person tells me that because of whatever the work has been and everything, and I've been under so much pressure, I won't be able to take up this job, and I won't do this profile only. I will leave this profile, and I will probably switch my department altogether. And I was like,
Oh my god.
he's
Okay.
like, no, dude, that is not what I meant. I never told you that you're bad at what you're doing. You just need to, like, kind of, be better at organizing bit. That's it. And I was just taken aback, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I think probably because even that person was a fresher, and even probably it was, how first jobs are. First job becomes very
Right.
overwhelming. I mean, I remember my first like legit job was very very overwhelming. I always kind of just wanted to make things right, but then you end up making a lot of mistakes. So
Hmm.
then I kind of just made that person understand that it's fine, it's okay. I mean, you want to go, that's a different story, but don't go with a heavy heart, because what really matters is what you've learned here. And I can literally see a me in you literally 2 years
Hmm.
back. So yeah, that's there. I mean, that's been my most difficult kind of letting go of someone to date. I mean, with other people, it was like very simple. So, for instance, it's not like there have been too many cases, but maybe one or two other people,
Hmm.
whoever has resigned, those guys are like, you want to go? And I was like, okay, what's the reason, this and that? And then you kind of let them go. But with, this particular person, I was like really uh, relying on, because website was right in place, and that person was particularly someone who was extremely involved in the entire bit. So yeah, that
Hmm.
was something which was very crucial. Like, it was, I think, one of the most strongest decisions to kind of make.
I see. I see.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I
that's a,
know, I
that's a
know,
good story.
I know it's not funny. I know it's not something that is just very light,
No, no,
but
no.
it is something that has kind of hit me. That there are chances, there are scenarios when you are probably in your most crucial period. People might just leave you. So be assured of the fact that you have a backing, or at least you are backed up in your head. कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है, and you kind of need to be ready.
Right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely right. No, so see, honestly, Malika, it's absolutely fine that the story is not funny or something because, first of all, the way I see it, not every entrepreneur is funny because I am not funny at all. Okay, and with that said, the thing that happens with us is something a bit on the sadder and the hard parts. Okay, we face life differently. We face different scenarios altogether. So that is where the learning needs to happen. So it's absolutely fine. Devika, do you have something to add, or maybe something you want to tell on the same note, maybe a different story, something?
Yeah, of course, I have a funny story because she is not the one
Okay.
who has to deal with the labor. I'm taking care of the production. So I
Okay.
remember, I remember that when we were about to launch our first collection, that is Autumn Winter 19.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a deadline given by Mallika to me that this
Okay.
is the date when our production should be done and we'll be launching our first collection. So I
Hmm.
had a lot of pressure, like how are they going to do? And the labor is not working very fast. So I kept putting a lot of pressure on my labor as well. And I kept telling my production head that make them work somehow and just get it done, make them do overtime or however you can get it done. So after a point of time, the whole labor started throwing tantrums. So my production head
Okay.
came to my cabin and he told me कि labor is saying they won't be coming tomorrow. And I was already so upset and depressed that there is just 1 week for a label to launch and nothing is done. and I just screamed while leaving
Devika,
my cabin कि भाड़ में जाओ, जिसको आना है आओ, जिसको नहीं आना है नहीं आओ, and I just left. And that was
Devika.
when we were about to launch my label, and I had no idea
Okay.
what were they doing behind me after I left. And then when I reached home, my sister was like कि टेलर्स कल आने वाले हैं कि नहीं आने वाले हैं. And I was like, I have no idea. And the next morning when I got up and I was
Hmm.
like कि जय माता दी करके, I just came to the office and I had no idea whether tailors are gonna come or not. I'm gonna sit there alone in the office or what is gonna happen. But luckily tailors were there. So yeah, everything was
So what did the production manager say? Did the union decide on anything, or was it like ठीक है पैसे आ रहे हैं दिहाड़ी आती आने तो what was
I
it?
have no idea what happened behind my back, but tailors were there.
Okay, Malika, did you do any magic out there? You know, पीछे से सामने से मुझे सिखाना है that you know this is not how Devika thing works, but you know, boss, production manager, you gotta get this thing happen. Did you do something?
No, honestly, so I didn't do anything of that sort. I mean, we kind of
Okay.
did speak to the guy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of did tell him that, figure out, kind of make them understand that, why all of this is important. And there's a reason why we're telling you to fasten the speed. There's a reason why we're telling you that things needs to be worked on a smoother pace and needs to be done a little, in a faster manner, because we have a deadline and we kind of need to achieve it. So
Right.
that was the only thing which was basically practical that I told him. So yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no magic. It was just practicality. So why, when you're doing it, why you're doing it?
Right, right. Absolutely agreeable. Okay, so this is the good stories, two good stories I would say that I've got. One on the, you know, the real hard truth side and one on the funny side with from Devika. That really, you know, gives me something that you guys have faced when we talk about the hiring and firing, that experience of being an entrepreneur. Now, the next thing that actually comes up is that you both have had experiences working in different sectors. So Devika, you've been sorry, Malika, you've been a part of the corporate sector, and the corporate sector work culture is something that you're trying to inculcate in your company. And Devika, you have worked at at a good fashion house, House of Masaba, and you have an experience from there. So now uh, both the places you were working for someone else, and you know when you work for someone else, there's a different mindset altogether. You kind of chilled out because you don't have to take care of a lot of stuff. It's just the task that you have been assigned, right? And then you're good to go. But when being an entrepreneur, there's much more on the plate, more than you can bite. So, how has this transition been for you, for both of you, and what did it teach you, and how did your mindset change from being a corporate person, employed person, to employing people and running a show on your own?
Okay, so the whole idea of becoming, the whole transition of being an employee to becoming an employer has been crazy, because, whenever you're working for someone, you kind of don't have that sense of, you have a sense of security actually. कि ठीक है,
Hmm.
job है, that's there. But whereas when you are becoming an employer, and you are running your own business, you don't think about yourself first, you think about your employees. And I think that's kind of the learning that our dad has taught us, to ensure कि आपकी सैलरी आती रहेगी, इंश्योर कि जिन जिन लोगों को आपने हायर करा है उनका सैलरी जाना पहले इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. So I think that pressure is there. Then for instance, like, let me give you a couple of examples. When I was working in a fashion brand, or when I was working with the IT company, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I used to work in the marketing department. Yeah,
Right.
marketing meant a lot of money to be
Right.
spent out here and there. So
Right.
there I used to get, like, the best of the brands to collaborate with, or let's say the best of the fashion magazines to get on board, and the best of the bloggers, and the best of the celebrities to kind of be associated with. Whereas when it comes to my particular brand, I have to think and I have to do all the math कि इतना budget है, so how much can I actually spend. Whereas when it comes to working for someone, when I was working for let's say XYZ brand, uh, that is when I used to kind of like, push my boss also कि अरे थोड़ा सा ऊपर कर लेते हैं because it's good. Here on the other
Mm-hmm.
hand, when I am kind of, when people are coming and telling me कि अरे नहीं थोड़ा सा ऊपर कर लेते हैं, so that ऊपर never happens. That just doesn't happen. I'm
Right.
rather like कि नहीं यार वो नहीं करना है, उसकी जगह तुम और कोई alternative देख लो. So I think that sort of the whole money minded thing kind of just comes in. The whole sense of security just kind of comes in कि जहाँ पे भी जा रहा है, whatever money is going, it needs to be invested smartly.
Right, right, right,
So I
right.
think that is one of the
And
major points.
right. And Devika, what would you like to add to it?
I think my experience has been pretty different because, like I told you, this Taylor incident happened. Since
Mm-hmm.
then, I had decided that I'm not gonna uh, get so angry on my staff ever again. And also,
Mm-hmm.
since then, I have decided like I'm always gonna keep myself in my staff members' shoe to see what are they actually thinking and what are they going through to understand
Mm-hmm.
how are they feeling. So yeah.
Okay, okay, that's a nice lesson that you have given us, listeners. There's something, I would say that coming from a fashion designer who's actually dealing with labor, like the workforce out there, the tailors out there, and learning on the way that how things actually have to work. And the major thing that she's again putting up, which many of the people on the show has said, empathize. So actually, from her, you can learn that how she has learned to empathize and how you can empathize and why is it important, right? So moving on, guys. If I ask you, like, in terms of House of Tomar, what has been your biggest failure or biggest hiccup that you guys have faced, and what has it taught you?
I think it is probably the one of the exhibitions that we did, and the other thing was basically I think the COVID thing that kind of just ruined our entire plan of you know executing the big campaign, the big launch that we were probably planning, with Agio and with our own website and everything. So we kind of had to see we had to see a downfall, or we rather had to, take a step back when
Mm-hmm.
that happened. So I think it's COVID that kind of, made little made the situation a little difficult for us. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I
So what did you actually like pick up from it? What has it taught you?
uh, to have patience, to believe in the fact that, keep on putting in your efforts, understand when and how you're supposed to channelize yourself, because it doesn't mean that, COVID has happened, so, you can just continue to do your work and you continue to spend all the money and everything. So I think from the monetary point, that's there. Then from the mental perspective, I think it's patience that we have learned कि अभी नहीं तो थोड़ा और टाइम सही, and it's probably going to take a while more, but then slowly and steadily we'll get there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Devika, you want to add something?
So talking about the exhibition, one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I would like to say is that the most important thing is to know where you are wrong and to accept it.
Right. Okay.
So we kind of, when we thought that, we will do an exhibition, we thought first exhibition में ही सारी चीजें बहुत ही अच्छी हो जाएंगी, and
Hmm.
that is where we kind of, realized no, it doesn't work like that. Whenever you work in an offline platform, it takes literally a lot of time to convert a customer or a prospect customer into a customer, I would rather say. So I think
Right.
that is something that we kind of learned there.
Right, 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 right. And I resonate a lot with you also on Devika on your statement that mistakes are made, but you need to accept the mistakes. Acceptance is not there with everyone.
Correct.
Okay. The next thing that I want to ask you guys is what are your money management plans?
Okay, because you see, it's pretty evident. Like, and you also told that you've been supported in a very good way by your dad. But what are your plans like? Because it's a family. I won't say it's a family business, but it's been supported in a very good way by the family, right?
Correct.
And so, how do you like? What is your plan like? Let's say your dad has funded you, and now do you guys take salaries? Do you guys invest, or do you put it all back in business? How does this thing really happen? So what is it like?
Okay, so basically, the whole system works here in such a way that all of us are salaried, right? And
Right,
we believe that whatever business that comes in has to probably go back into the business itself, right?
right.
So that's there. When you talk in terms of ensuring that how the money gets converted or how do we proceed ahead, uh, we really hope that this entire stock gets sold out so that we can upload the new one and we can make the new one live on our website and kind of make it even bigger and better. So I don't want to give out any numbers just
No worries.
because that is something that we kind of like would want to hold on to. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier also. Need to have patience for a month so that we know that
Hmm.
how the brand is actually performing.
Right, right. So basically, what happens if I look at it the right way, you have the investment from the family, right? And you guys take your salaries, and the return that comes, and you put it back into the business, and you're growing the business again, right?
That is how it has been throughout.
Okay,
Because we feel that it makes more sense. I mean, in case, for instance, let's just say, Sarthak, if you are doing something, wouldn't you want that to grow 10 times or maybe 100 times?
definitely, definitely.
So that is something that we have been taught throughout, that in
Hmm.
case, let's just say our dad has done something, we would definitely
Hmm.
want to kind of like take it to another level.
Right, right, right. Okay, Devika, do you want to add something to this?
No, no, I think she has told pretty much enough.
Okay, okay. So the next question is, guys, are you money minded?
Yes. I am.
Okay, Devika.
No, I don't think so. I have
Okay, then you guys have to,
different
it's a
goals.
subjective question, so you guys have to define me your perspective on this.
Okay, so when you talk, when when you say that a person is said to be money minded, it doesn't necessarily means that the perception has to be very negative, or it has to be very
Right,
kind. The reason I say that I'm money minded, it's because I kind of think twice, thrice, or maybe I
hmm,
number of times before kind of putting in every penny that goes in. For instance, let's just say,
right,
I kind of gave you the examples earlier also, that कोई चीज जा रही है,
hmm,
कितने में जा रही है, कितने का हो रहा है. So all of that is there. But when it comes to like the major bit, कि कितना आना है, कितना जाना है, that is something that it's me and Hardik, we kind of discuss it all together and we do it together. But
hmm.
yeah, when it comes to saying, or claiming over the fact that I'm money minded, yes, I am to an extent.
Great. And what about you, Devika? Yeah, Devika.
Yeah, I think again, like I'm like those typical artists who are willing to just create good content. And like I told you, the major reason to start this brand was to generate employment, and
Right.
I just want to create good stuff.
Yeah, she wants to create good stuff, and
I
पैसा लग जाए, कोई बात नहीं.
I can resonate with both of you, to be very honest. But before I get on that, guys, I need you to understand, my listeners, that again, there's a bigger picture here. What Malika does is basically save on the pennies. That is why she calls herself a money minded.
Yeah.
And what Devika does is, there's a very big motive that she wants to create jobs. So this duo sister combination here is kind of a deadly combination because one is saving, one is spending, but overall they're making a bigger impact, right? So I would say this is something which we need to look out for, and many people need to have both of them in themselves. And with that said, I would say I am that one person which have both of these in myself, because when I'm spending, I do what Malika does, right? I know that I'm picking up that should I spend this much or not? Is zyada ho jayega, kam ho jayega, and can I take it for the next lot or not? I do that. But when it comes to my artistic calling, I'm like Devika. I know it for a fact that lag raha hai, lag jane do. आर्टिस्टगिरी में कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए, उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं होनी चाहिए. So I can resonate with both of you on that. Perfect. So guys, your biggest struggle, like if I'm not wrong to say, has been like hiring most of the time with
So
the workforce.
okay, so that's there. But then apart from that, I think it is also kind of being able to take up what dad does. To be able
Okay.
to, like I said, in case if I'm able to achieve even 0.1% of what he does, I think I'll
Mm-hmm.
consider myself to be successful, because when he was working, or when he has been working throughout this while, it's him single-handedly managing everything. It's him single-handedly doing everything. So yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
Okay. I get it. So now, actually, there's a very good question. If you guys shout on it, please tell the others it's everything's fine, right? So the question is that how was the feeling of the first transaction when it happened?
Oh my God. So luckily, the first showcase that we did here, in our hometown itself, and
Right.
that is when we did our first sale. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it was major, because the minute you see the person kind of handing you over, and you striking off that bill, it's literally like your first penny earned. So it was as good as that. It is as new and fresh of a feeling as it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It,
And
it,
Devika, what do you want to say?
Still remember when we were actually swiping the card, we had also invited our friends, and I came to the cabin and shouted like, "Order place ho gaya hai!" And everyone inside was slowly like, "Yay!"
My goodness. So I completely understand. So, I was reading this book yesterday itself, the $100 startup. Okay. So in that also it says that, the first transaction needs to happen very soon, because that gives a sense of accomplishment that, this idea can work. What you're trying to do can happen, and it strikes a feeling inside you that, you can make it big, you can make it large.
Correct.
Right. So that is where, this excitement that Devika just showed, guys, that really comes up that, this can work. Guys, do you mind telling me the amount of the first transaction?
So basically, it was a 10,000 rupees ka transaction that happened.
Wow. And how many pieces were there?
It was a single
It
piece,
was in one piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, for a designer. That's really, really great. Nice.
We
Okay.
were also taken aback. We were like, shit, it actually happened. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can completely understand that feeling. Yeah. Okay. So, guys, with that said, I guess there's not much of questions that I'm left with that I would want to ask you. Right. So, yes, I guess with that, we are definitely at the end of the podcast. Okay. And the next thing that, no, I actually have a question. Before I end, I do want to ask you one question. So, what is your biggest fear, like for both of you, in terms of business?
Okay, Sarthak. So I really, really fear the fact that, I may not be able to pull off the kind of responsibilities that come on me, or I may not be able to execute that, because
Mm-hmm.
you kind of need to understand that everything that, be it in terms of the finances that we have, or be it in the time, the kind of business that is already existing, it all comes through dad, right? So there's
Right.
kind of an emotional connect that's there. I mean, no matter how much we argue, or no matter how much we kind of talk about it, that thing will always be there, that I kind of just need to be able to step into his shoes and to be able to kind of take it to another level. That is something that I always want to kind of pull it off, because that is literally something that means the world to me. If I'm, like I said, if I'll be able to kind of pull off 0.1% of what he is, uh I think I'm good to go.
Wow. Devika?
I won't be dramatizing it.
I didn't
Honestly,
dramatize it.
Oh my God, लड़ाई हो
no,
जाएगी बाद में, मत बोलो ऐसा.
on yourself. So, I'll be very honest. When you talk about business, I don't have fear as such, because, of course, there have been a lot of ups and downs, but I
Hmm.
have always had this energy like things are gonna somehow work out. I'll be very honest with
Okay.
you. I have never like had fear that I won't be able to do it. I have always felt that things will work out and everything is gonna be fine. I think that
Well,
what has made me reach here.
that's amazing. That's really amazing. Yeah. Okay. So, guys, being a sister duo, right? If I ask you, has there been one experience in this journey of House of Tomar? Has there been one specific experience which has changed you guys completely? Your perspective together towards the business, towards House of Tomar, towards how you're taking this thing forward? One experience, one story, or one moment, anything you want to call it. Why don't you tell me that?
All right. So I think the day we kind of did our first showcase, which was basically in our office itself, and the response
Mm-hmm.
was pretty decent. That is where we kind of realized that. I mean, I personally realized that we can make things work. I mean, I initially was kind of, I never doubted her designs. I kind of never doubted, the kind of ideology that she has had so far. uh, it is that when I understood that both of us can actually make this work. Because initially, what really happens in a lot of family businesses, you do you know end up arguing so much, and then things just, people just tend to walk into separate ways, separate directions. So I
Hmm.
think that was the very first time when that very first sale happened. I kind of had this realization that we can work together and we can actually make things happen.
I think again
Wow.
it's because of the marketing perspective and design perspective. So until and unless a product is in front of Malika, she is not able to understand what the
Hmm.
outcome is going to be or how is it going to look. Which is why the
Right.
view and everything keeps happening. But now that when she had seen the product, so she was pretty much confident.
Right. 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 So, there's any other moment that you want to talk about, Devika?
No, that's all.
Uh, that's a cute thing. Honestly, that's a very cute sister thing. That, and it would have been so amazing. Now I'm looking like a Bollywood film. Had this been in front in a video and everything, it would have been so amazing to see you guys hug and the thing happening.
Oh my god, Devika is the worst hugger. I'm not even kidding. She wouldn't hug you.
Oh
She's gonna stand like a stick and she won't hug you back. It's very sad.
Right. 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 I completely get it. Right. So yeah, with that said, that's a good story, and I would say that we are at the end of the podcast, and honestly, मेरे पास कुछ questions नहीं बचे पूछने के लिए. So before we end this, guys, if you have to give out a business mantra, what would that be?
I personally think that you need to understand that how you're channelizing yourself, that is what matters the most. Because with the business, it's not just the business growing, it's you as an individual who grows as well. So you kind of just need to make all the forces work. You kind of need to be very optimistic about it and have patience. That is what matters the most. Have patience, ensure that whatever you're doing needs to be on the right path, in the right direction, and I think things will fall in place.
Right. And what about you, Devika? Do you have something else or maybe
I
something to
would
add on to this?
just like to say one thing, that is, before satisfying others, you yourself should be satisfied with whatever you are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, guys, this was a good mantra, I would say, right? And before I say a bye to you, we do this thing that, I ask my guests to, tell us another entrepreneur whom you think so have a very inspiring journey, and we can call him on the show and talk to them about their journey. So, whom would you recommend?
So there's this really dear friend of mine. Since you're really interested in people working in different backgrounds, and then all of a sudden working into a different vertical. There's this dear friend of mine. Her name is Zainab Fatima. So
Okay.
she runs a restaurant. She was with me in NIFT, and now she runs a restaurant in Noida. So I think that is something you'd be interested in.
Wow. What's the name of the restaurant? Firstly, I want to have the food. Then now I'm hungry.
My God, you will love the food, and I'm not even kidding. It's that brilliant. I'm not exaggerating because she's my friend, but it's really, really.
Right. So what's the name of the restaurant?
It's called Soli Luna.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, Lona.
yeah,
Okay, definitely. Then I will first of all definitely have the food,
correct.
go there, and I'll make sure that she comes on the board. So do help me connect with her,
Yes,
and then I'll send you the links to her podcast, and I'll send her your podcasting so that you guys can learn and we all can learn. And Devika, do you have someone to recommend?
I was gonna say her name only. She's like a family.
Oh. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
No worries. So with that said, guys, this was Mallika and Devika, the from the House of Tomar with us, the sister duo who's running a business from different verticals. They came back together and they started this thing, and it's a very amazing thing to see how these sisters are trying to you know make a brand from the scratch, and the kind of struggle they're facing, and the way they're pulling things off is something you can really learn. And the best thing that I could say that you guys need to pick up is that in terms of family, when you are doing a business in the family, the brothers or sisters, you need to learn this, that you have to fight like crazy, walk into the rooms but come back. That is what is the most essential thing. You have to come back not for yourself but for the brand that you're working for, and that is where things will grow, you will grow, your relationship will grow, and things will just become better for everything, like genuinely everything. So with that said, I want to thank you guys, Mallika and Devika and House of Tomar, that you guys have finally taken out time and we have done this podcast. And yes, before I end this, guys, they're live. They're not their live, I'm sorry, their website went live. Their website went live yesterday.
Yay.
Okay, and houseoftomer.com is live, and you can buy your stuff, and I really like the collection. And if you really want to know,
Yeah, Sarthak, we have a flat 20% site wide a sale going on, which basically on any of the products that people buy, it's a launch sale. The whole idea is to celebrate something good about 2020. I mean, since
oh, that's really great. Yeah, that's really great. So guys, go on the website, buy the clothes, and these are really amazing. To be honest, the website is open in front of me right now, and I'm gonna recommend you my personal favorite, which I have seen, is this dress by the name of Teal Blue Third Eye Kurta. I really like it. So if you have your girlfriend, you can definitely gift it to her. If she's into Indian wear, if you can give that dress to your moms also, and she's gonna love it. Right. I wish I could also give that one to someone. Right. I'll have to think of it. But yes, do gift it to someone. Okay. And Many More Clothes, check that out. Houseoftomar.com. That's their website. And you can hit them up directly if you want on their Instagram. And if you want to connect with them, you can ask me also. I'll help you connect with them. But that said, thank you. Thank you, Thomas sisters, for coming in. It was lovely talking to you.
same here, yeah, same here.
Thank you, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
I hope that you're able to take back something insightful from this podcast and apply it in your life to be a better version of yourself and add to your Dhandho Ni Soch. If you know someone whom you think should feature on my podcast and has a very inspiring entrepreneurial journey, then do drop me a DM on my Instagram, SarthakVarshney. Sarthak Varshney. Yeah, that's me. I'm the founder of SV Clicks, and SV Clicks is the producer of this show. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well with the same name. If you're willing to listen to more of such unheard, inspiring stories of the entrepreneurs, then don't forget to follow us by pressing that follow button on your podcast screen. Thank you for being such an amazing audience. Keep learning, keep growing. We'll be back soon. See ya.